Well, hello and welcome to Double Talk. I'm Mark Steffen.
I'm Michael Mandel. See, he got me to laugh. The show hasn't even started. He's just so funny. I just can't help it. Well, okay, I know it doesn't show on when you're watching the TV, but before the show, he's very good.
We have a lot of good laughs before the show, and
that's vodka
during the commercial breaks. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen much during the show.
Yeah, there's no spillover into the show. So I was driving to work today. I was telling you because I was driving to the glorious studios.
What, didn't send the limo by?
No, I had my license plate that says M. Mandel Star, this little star behind it, so people know I'm a star. I passed the Relationship Center of Las Cruces. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I'm afraid not.
Did you ever have a relationship?
Yes, that's why I don't need a relationship center.
Oh, so you don't have to go there. Well, I figured that's a good place to go to get relationships. And I'm thinking, so isn't there a sexual addict anonymous? It's not anonymous if I say it. Isn't there a sexual anonymous?
There is a sexual addicts
thing.
Yes, a group going on this week, in fact.
So are we going to go to that meeting? I mean,
what are you saying?
Merely to observe. What do you observe?
You want to report back?
It seems kind of weird.
It's a private thing,
if you're
Michael.
a sex addict and if you have a bunch of people together, that spells havoc to me.
No.
I think it would spell havoc.
It's just like Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcanon. There's the people dealing with an addiction.
Yes.
Or an alleged addiction.
That's true.
That they're trying to overcome.
Right, and they overcome that by drinking copious amounts of coffee.
Apparently so.
A sex addict.
Apparently coffee cures anything.
Do you think that's what they do for the sex addicts? Every time you have an urge to have sex, have coffee?
Well, it seems to me unhealthy not to have sex. I mean, everybody has an urge to have sex. It's the urge to do it on an uncontrolled way that is causing problems in a person's life.
So do you think then that if you go hang out at the Bean and you see somebody going in for lots of coffee, they're like a recovering sexaholic?
Just because they're having lots of coffee doesn't mean they're a sex addict. If they're a sex addict, it does mean they are having lots of coffee if they're going to these meetings. What they should be doing is having sex instead of having coffee, I feel.
So I guess that means we are going to the meeting to see what what their solution is.
It seems to me.
I mean, what was a talk? You go. I'm sorry to say, I've had sex 9 times this week, and it's still just Wednesday.
To me, sex is more healthy than coffee.
Really?
That's the way I feel about it.
I wasn't bending down to have sex, by the way, just in case anybody on TV was
If
wondering about that.
if you need sex to be not addicted to coffee, then you become a coffee addict, and that's another addiction.
So when you go to the Coffee Addicts Anonymous, do they tell you to either drink, have sex, or do drugs, do you think? I mean, the Caffeine Anonymous Center would give you some alternatives. You need some alternatives.
We should go to one of these meetings and report back.
In the meantime, let me just tell you what I'm addicted to right now.
What's that?
I think chicken tacos.
Really?
Yes.
Well, there's nothing better than some good chicken tacos.
I like chicken tacos.
I like them fine.
Okay, we're going to start the show now.
Well,
you know, we should start now.
The sex addiction is when you see fireworks, when the sex is really good.
Yes.
And this is the 4th of July weekend where there will be fireworks.
Really?
Well, we hope not. But the city's going to be setting off fireworks.
They're allowed to, aren't they?
But people should not be setting off fireworks.
So that's a parade. That's why it's moving back and forth.
We're going to
You just move it back and forth like the parade.
Yeah. Well, the 4th of July parade is coming up, and before the fireworks, actually. And the 4th of July parade is going to be going down Solano Avenue and Hadley Avenue like it always does. Steve Pierce is the parade marshal this year.
He's a marshal? Does that mean he could arrest you? He could arrest those, what were those, the blue guppies?
He can only arrest you if you're in the parade.
Oh.
But Steve Pierce is our parade marshal this year in the 4th of July Electric Light Parade.
And the fireworks that are going on around Hadley are usually, well, they're pretty good. Yes. They are. You could almost say they're fireworks. Like they're really good. One of the things about in the old days when fireworks were more legal for private people, you could lie up back on somebody's roof and just look out over the city, and it would be awesome. But now you have to go to Hadley, so there's no big deal.
You can lay out on the park on the grass there and look straight up. Problem is, we're in a fireworks emergency now.
We are.
We're in a drought scenario. Nobody should be setting off fireworks. People think, well, we're patriotic, we have to set fireworks off. No, if you're a true patriot, you will not be setting fireworks off. We don't want to set our country ablaze.
Because you respect your country. Therefore,
Exactly.
you don't buy one and get one. You buy none and let the city do the
So
fireworks
that's
for
how
you.
you can tell who the true terrorists are. They're the ones setting off the fireworks this
Trying
year.
to set our country on fire.
Yes.
We don't want that to happen. Then we have another picture. Oh, because this is what happens. Are we going to do the fireworks picture? Well, this is what happens when you set off fireworks.
Well, yeah, you can burn your hands severely like that poor fellow there did.
You could probably get that kind of burn from grabbing a sparkler.
Yeah, well,
Sparkler.
Governor Martinez has admonished
Declared.
people
Admonished.
against fireworks.
Is that her?
She's put the word out that please do not set off fireworks this year. It's not worth it. Whatever joy you might get from a temporary
Woo!
spectacle is not worth the danger of fire right now.
You know, some alternatives to fireworks are getting a halogen light and looking straight into it for a while. You just see the fireworks, or getting a flashlight and going like that, or setting your garage on fire.
Exactly.
That would give you, I mean, what is fireworks anyway except visual stimulation?
That's all
Go
it is.
have some coffee.
It's
you want
like an
stimulation.
addiction to anything else.
You're addicted to
It's a-
visual stimulation.
It's a temporary instant
Woohoo!
high you get.
Yes.
And
Because you shoot them off high and you see the lights.
and I
go,
tell you, there's one place where they will not be setting fireworks off this year, and that's Los Alamos, New Mexico.
no, and most of Santa Fe, they're in a severe drought.
Los Alamos is on fire. I was up there yesterday.
And how did you help either stop or start this fire?
By not going near the place.
Oh, you
I
kept it there.
kept out of the way of the firefighters.
You know, apparently, according to our producer, there can't be a law banning all sorts of fireworks because it would be unpatriotic. We were just talking about how it's patriotic not to use fireworks because it has results such as this. But according to our producer, who will someday get on our show, it's not legal to ban them. You know, I would say that our ties, at least this tie, becomes almost like fireworks because it's gleeful. And the reason I'm wearing it is, aside from this fire picture, which you could take off now, you just kill it, or leave
not.
it there. Just leave it there. You know, I wore this tie to prove. Last week you dressed me, and I looked like an idiot.
I dressed you, huh?
And this week
It's better than undressing
I
you.
wanted to prove I can do it myself.
I must say,
Look like an
that's
idiot.
a very nice tie, Michael.
Look like an
Who
idiot.
shot the couch?
This is a sacred couch. It's from India. Your tie, however, is rather subdued.
Mine's a very nice tie. You know,
It's
it's a good tie. When you go out to buy a tie,
not like fireworks. Who goes out
When
to
you
buy
go out to
them?
buy a
I
tie-
get my ties off drunks.
look, you need to spend between $40 and $60 per tie. Otherwise, you're not going to get a decent tie. You want a silk tie, it's going to cost you at least $40 to
Yeah.
$60.
So what's that, about $5?
What'd you pay? About $10.95?
$10.95. That's like twice as much as what you paid for that tie.
No, this is very
The
good.
only reason we're wearing ties is because
We like Thai food.
yeah, we like tie. But it also helps our microphones to stay up. You know, it used to keep falling off our chest hair.
That's it, really, that is the only reason. It helps. We have to put a microphone somewhere.
That's right, and we don't want to put it on our chest hair. What do we want to talk about? Oh, okay, there are con artists around who are collecting money for fire relief. We don't have a graphic for that.
Right, and nobody is calling around asking money for fire relief. If anybody calls you saying we're collecting money for victims of forest fires or fire relief, it's not true.
That's true. So if you want to send money for fire relief, we're accepting it here. We will send it on and give people relief.
Yeah.
So call the phone number on our screen.
No, the Red Cross is where you want to give it, I would say, and
Yes, there's legal places to do it. People aren't knocking on your doors. If they're knocking on your doors asking for money, learn how to say no. I think that's the way to do it, right? Just say no to anybody asking you for any kind of money.
there are always people who are going to take advantage of a
There's
crisis scenario.
tons of scams out there. The best thing to do is always say no or say yes, get rid of your money, and then you have nothing left to give, and you won't be a victim anymore.
Speaking of scams,
Yes?
there was the former governor of Illinois. Well, when he was the governor of Illinois,
Yes.
he was trying to scam
Political figures.
yes, people into paying him to access Barack Obama's vacated seat when Barack Obama became president, the Senate seat was available, and Blagojevich was ready with open hands to take bribes
money
to receive that available seat.
Is this true? Also, he was
And he was just found guilty of doing that.
Of 17 out of, I think, 20 counts or something. This was a trial last year, and it ended up in a deadlock
This year.
And this year they presented it differently, and they figured out how to present it to make whatever it was.
So anyway, this week he was found guilty. He'll be he could get up to 30 years in prison.
The interesting thing about that is when Dave Letterman announced that he was actually indicted or actually convicted of these crimes, applause came out of the audience. It shows how politics can be great entertainment. And it is great entertainment. Look, for instance, shall we move on to Barbara Bachmann, who's
well, that's showbiz too.
She pretty much has the same hairstyle as Rod. Oh, she's got a nicer hairstyle. She was talking about, she was in a town and said how she appreciated the fact that it was the home of John Wayne. Turns out it was the home of John Wayne Gacy, who
serial killer, mass murderer.
Killed 30 people and put them in his crawl space.
Young boys.
Young boys.
That he had sex with and then murdered.
Well, young boys take up less space, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to plan these things based on the crawl space you have in your house.
Barbara Bachmann also said it was the founding fathers who eliminated slavery from our country, who voted down slavery.
This wasn't in the article. I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Voted the founding fathers?
It was the founding fathers who voted to eliminate slavery from this nation.
She also said that the American Revolution was started in New Hampshire, which everybody who went to school pretty much knows it was Massachusetts, which is where Bunker Hill was. Oh. Shots heard around the world. Right. And that's before cell phones. So who knows how they heard them around the world? I don't know.
Now, speaking of the
what other things
political active people.
Yes, politically active Steve Colbert.
Steve Colbert is... he was making a spectacle of himself this week in Washington.
Yes, and the FEC, the Federal Election Committee, he put a proposal in to make himself, and he's great. He's very strong.
He's been challenging them to find out what he could and could not do legally as a media person.
He wasn't really challenging them. He applied to become a political action committee, and he succeeded. He made a political action committee. Viacom, the company that owns Comedy Central, is going to help supply.
Yes.
And Paramount?
Paramount Pictures.
And perhaps they own this station too. I don't know. Is that true?
Comcast? No, Paramount.
Comcast.
Viacom doesn't own Comcast.
Or Las Cruces cable channel.
Comcast owns Comcast.
If anybody from Viacom is listening to this, we are up for, if you want to buy us, we can negotiate. So give us a call.
Our contracts are up for renewal soon.
Yes. So we never know who's going to be on the show next. It could be Steve Colbert. Could be Jon Stewart. Can't tell. Anyway, Steve Colbert could be nobody. That's nobody. They're not going to be on. So Steve Colbert is going to have a political action committee. If those of you, a lot of people say, I'm not affiliated. I don't want to be Democrat. I don't want to be a Republican. I don't want to be Libertarian. I don't want to be Green Party. You can send your money to Steve Colbert. I'm sure he'll accept it.
And what does he want the money for?
Because he's going to campaign for something ridiculous. And we get something ridiculous anyway. Everybody says that people or politicians are clowns. So if you're gonna give your money to some clown, you might as well give them to a bona fide clown.
And what do they get for their money?
They get somebody to rule their country that at least has intended for you to laugh at whatever they do, rather than people who just stumble upon it, oddly enough. And speaking of stumbling, we're going to stumble off and allow you guys to see the people who sponsor this show, with even though we're not a federal
Somebody's got to pay for this show.
That's right.
So we're going to take a quick break. And
other than our viewers.
We'll be right back after these words.